Kota this morning in court under instructions from Marama Davidson and Chloe Sorbrick as co-leaders, and our party governing council, Konihera, our lawyer agreed to defer our planned special general meeting until the proceedings brought by Darlene Tana are concluded, following a substantive hearing on the 12th of September. The Greens have no desire to be caught up in protracted legal proceedings and are doing everything we can to ensure things progress without undue delay. We will, unfortunately, not be able to confirm a new date until we are confident in the appropriate conclusion of legal proceedings. We have been clear consistently that our approach has been to uphold our green values. We are in Parliament to fight for people and planet, and that's where we want our focus to be. Throughout all of this important work will continue. For example, today Chloe is in Ruapehu with the workers affected by the closure of the Winston Mill. When it comes to the legal proceedings before us, we plan to do everything we can to ensure we continue to provide full transparency as the public of this country deserve. With that, I'm happy to take your questions.
What changed from yesterday when co-leader Chloe Sorbrick was adamant that the vote was going to go ahead? It was business as usual, and now this turnaround in such a short time. What changed?
Oh, well, that's the nature of these proceedings, right? And where we landed is that we don't want this to become a protracted process. Our members have worked really hard to get to this point, and they deserve us to act as swiftly as we can to resolve this.
How confident are you that all the correct...
Sorry, I'll just take this one and I'll just go back here. Sorry.
Has it just become more protracted by letting it go out just into the job?
That's not where we believe we stand. Actually, we think that by doing this, we can avoid protracted proceedings.
How confident do you think the correct party processes have been followed throughout all of this?
We're very confident in the processes that we've undertaken so far. I'm, of course, not going to speculate about what comes next.
Should a new date be made for the SGM? Is there anything within the Green Party rules which means that you have to wait another month?
So we haven't set a specific date yet. We've deferred it, but we also want to honour the hard work our members have done until this moment. And this is why the way that we're moving forward is to avoid protracted proceedings so that we can resolve.
Is there anything within the Green Party rules which means a new date has to be set with a time frame involved?
Well, that's something our party leadership will continue to discuss in terms of the date. But at this point, what we want to achieve is to avoid this becoming a protracted process.
Is there any point in this anymore? But let us stay.
We still believe that the right thing for Darlene to do would be to resign, unfit to be a member of Parliament.
Well, what damage are you doing to your party by extending this? What damage is the party doing to themselves?
Well, this is not of our doing. Darlene chose to take this to the court.
So, again, going back to yesterday's statement and then today's announcement, is there a split? This signals a split between the Flax Roots kaupapa membership and your leadership team.
I absolutely refute that assertion. What we are doing actually is honouring the work that our members have done so far to ensure that we avoid a protracted process, in part to honour the fact that our members have worked really hard to get us to this point too.
But the leadership were adamant yesterday that they were going to have the vote, take it as far as they can, party hopper out, and then there's a change. So something must have triggered that change for the leadership to then do a backtrack. What is that?
As Chloe indicated yesterday, this is a thing that is moving at a really fast pace, and we're having to make decisions as we go as well as new information comes out.
How long
but it's
after
absolutely
was that decision by your lawyers and the cordial that they had with Darlene Tana's lawyers? How soon after the stand-up was that?
It would have been a matter of hours, but I think, as I've said before, this is not about a division in the Flax Route, as you're trying to claim. This is actually about us trying to honour the work of our membership and actually put the values and principles of the party at the forefront to not create a protected procedure as a result of
Have
this.
you seen some legal arguments from Darlene Tana since yesterday, which has prompted you to need more time and therefore reach this agreement to delay things until September 12th?
No, that is not my understanding. But again, this is before the courts, and so I'm speaking here to mostly the fact that we're trying to avoid protracted proceedings. But what I want to make it clear that part of it is to avoid this going longer than it needs to be. We think this process has already gone for long enough.
The point that these guys are making is probably about, I don't know, 20 hours ago, you guys stood there and said exactly the same thing. There were legal proceedings
I think in the same way most of you were quite surprised and taken aback by this latest development, so were we. And so we're seeking advice pretty much as we go, right? And so this is what we're fronting up as often and as soon as we can to provide you updates on the developments as we go on. And we'll continue to do that in the interest of being transparent and upfront as things develop.
Do you feel like Darlene Tana...
Sorry, I'll just go to Mike in.
Were you expecting an outcome today? Is that why you thought that you could potentially still go ahead with the Sunday meeting? Did you think that it would be resolved today?
Well, the advice, basically the advice that we've got is that there could have been protected proceedings otherwise, and that was one of the advice that we received recently. But I do want to make it clear that, yeah, as you've kind of indicated, we'll continue receiving advice and in the next sort of few hours, and we'll continue watching developments, which means we'll continue trying to front up to provide you updates as we
Do you
go.
feel like were you under the impression yesterday that everything was going to be wrapped today and you could go ahead with something?
We were continuing to get advice on how best to proceed. Well, it wasn't so much that, it's we were trying to figure out what was the best way we could avoid turning this into a protected proceeding. And the best way we think we can avoid this becoming a protected proceeding is to defer the SGM, which I do want to make it clear that this is quite different from the meeting being cancelled altogether. We can try to get that information to you later on the line, but I think that's also a question for Darlene in terms of them being accountable to answer what is it that they want out of this.
She hasn't spoken to the media today. I mean, Green Party held a press conference yesterday, today. Do you think she needs to front up?
Oh, that's for Darlene to answer, but I think you'll be able to tell the difference between us making ourselves available to respond to processes Darlene themselves are creating to the level of accountability that they're showing to the public.
Do you feel outnumbered by...
So I'll go here.
What's the threshold here? Because you said, the point of the Green Party being here is to talk about the poverty, people in the planet. Haven't been doing that while this is happening. This could be months. What's the threshold?
Oh, I would completely refute that in the sense that we've actually have been leading on stories around income inequality, climate change, animal welfare and other issues. This is something we of course do not enjoy having to deal with, but we acknowledge that it is in the interest of the public for us to front up and give updates as they come in.
You said that the party
So I'll just
was
go here and then I'll go back
Okay.
to Claudette. Yeah, sorry.
Do you feel outmaneuvered by Darlene Tana here in that she succeeded in moving the meeting?
No, because what we're trying to do is to avoid this becoming protracted. As you would have seen, this is quite a novel way to approach things, and I think Darlene will have to answer as to, I guess, why these approaches are being tested out. I'll just go to you, Claudette.
So you had said that the party had acted on their values throughout this process. I noticed that you've also now stopped saying that you used the tikanga process. So have you backtracked from the fact that perhaps Te Ao Māori is saying that you didn't use tikanga, that in actual fact you used the Pākehā process to oust one of its wahine Māori?
No, Claudette, we've been really clear that our values and principles are also moving forward with a tikanga-led approach. And that requires the other party showing accountability, which has not happened so far.
Do you take responsibility, though, however, for the fact that you as a party, you have all the power? There is a power imbalance here that you champion yourselves on, equality of power. You're the party, you have power and the resources. She's one single wahine who is facing you, the party. Do you not see that there is a power imbalance and that there is an out-of-skew value system here within the Green Party?
As many of our MPs, including our Te Matawaka MPs, have noted, a tikanga approach would have required the other party showing a level of accountability, and that has not happened. We're not being pushed around. If anything, we think that trying to go ahead would have resulted in protracted proceedings, and we don't think that would have been fair to our members.
But you couldn't vote for what the general legislation without the meeting, right?
And we've made it clear abundantly, many, many times, that part of the reason why we're undertaking this process is because we don't believe that the law should be used in a way that concentrates power within the leadership. We're very clear that we're doing things in an incredibly Green Party way, which is to take our membership along.
It's also a drawn-out protracted process.
but it is one that aligns with our values and principles.
Was there a concern that you could have strengthened her legal case if you did continue on while she was contesting it? Was there any kind of advice around that?
Well, our view is that if we hadn't deferred, it could have become a protracted process.
Does it,
And that would have undermined the hard work our members have done to get us to this point.
When you say hard, can you just explain what you mean about that?
Oh, look, I don't want to undermine our lawyers by trying to parrot the legal advice, so I'm happy for that kind of more legalistic stuff to be communicated as much as we can, but we do have a matter in front of the courts. But I do want to make it clear that this is about making sure that this does not draw out longer than it already has. No, but what I'm saying is, as much as we can provide information, we will. Some of it does, because this is moving really, really fast, that we'll just have to give it to you as it comes.
Can you just clarify, sorry, what exactly is the timeline here? You've obviously delayed things. Where to from now? Can you just step out each of the bits from here that you're aware of and that you've made decisions on, and what you haven't made decisions on at this point?
Well, as you will see, a lot of it is effectively us relying on the court proceedings, so it makes it really hard for me to comment on hypotheticals on what happens next. We are taking this step by step. This is something Chloe indicated yesterday, but it is our view that the best way to move forward in order to honour the members' work so far and to be able to get to the point where we can move forward with our members is to avoid a protracted process and delay the SGM.
you can categorically state that there is no split between the Flat Fruit, kaupapa membership and your leadership team.
We have to make a difference between being a democratic party that allows for a diversity of opinions and the party being split around this. I feel incredibly proud of the fact that our members have worked really hard to uphold democratic values so that we can move together on this.
Have you had any response from your membership? You informed them of this yesterday?
We have informed our members of the delay with a communication today and obviously the court proceedings. I think our members are just wanting to move on with this issue. Most of the members that I personally have engaged with understand that this is not an issue not any of us wanted to deal with, but at the same time our members hold dear to our values of putting our internal party democracy at the forefront and moving forward with that too.
And are there any discussions with the Speaker, the Business Committee, or anyone else in terms of how to consult things at all in regards to this, or just in regards to the Darling Tana?
As Master, I have not had any of those conversations.
Do you want to make any comment on
We can provide those in Bridge, yeah. But I mean, look, it won't come as any surprise that this is incredibly disappointing to the many workers who are working very, very hard to put stories of their own communities at the forefront, and it will damage actually our democracy the more our media is undermined.
Can I just clarify, is there any world where a meeting doesn't happen in Darling Tana just forever stays on as an MP because it's too complicated in terms of the legal process?
That's a hypothetical that I am in no position to indulge in at the moment. Thank you.
Ngā mihi.